Distinguished Minister, esteemed Chairman, honorable members of APEX, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to APEX 2023 Conference, Istanbul, hosted by Exist. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, APEX was formed to facilitate development and communication of ideas and practices in the operation of global competitive electricity markets. One of our primary intentions is to provide a platform for sharing information between the members. Within the framework and serving this purpose, the APEX 2023 Istanbul Conference is a unique three-day opportunity for senior APEX member representatives to share information and ideas and network and plan for the future of electricity markets with the industry peers from all around the world. The annual conference is held in a different part of the world each year, and this year we have the honor of organizing this conference at the heart of the economy of the country, an imperial capital for 1,500 years, a city where two continents meet, Europe and Asia. Once again, welcome to Istanbul, welcome to Türkiye. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a quick couple of reminders before we begin. You may simply visit our website at apex2023istanbul.com to get all the details about the conference. There's also a QR code on the backside of your name badges. You can simply scan that QR code to get the full conference program as well. You can also scan the QR code that you can see on the screen right now. And also, we kindly ask you to download our application, APEX 2023 Istanbul application, on your phones to get the information that you need about our conference. Let me also take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Mustafa Özben, and I will be the Master of Ceremonies throughout the conference for the next 2 days, and also I'll be joining you at the gala dinner and also the closing dinners as well. I am the first and only Turkish sports announcer ever in the history of Olympic Games and Paralympic Games. I was the voice of basketball in the arenas of London 2012, Rio 2016, and Tokyo 2020, and it's a great pleasure and honor for me to be with you at this very unique conference. So, ladies and gentlemen, now to begin the APEX 2023 Conference Istanbul, and delivering his opening speech, please welcome the chairman of APEX, Mr. Stu Bressler.
Thank you, Mustafa, for that excellent introduction. And once again, good morning, everyone. Very good, thank you. It's again, my great pleasure on behalf of my fellow APEX board members to welcome all of you to the APEX 2023 Annual Conference. And as I emphasized last night, this makes it 2 in a row since our unfortunate COVID break, and it's wonderful to see all of you again this year. I hope those of you who were able to attend our opening reception last night had a wonderful time, just like I did. Certainly a great start to our event. And I certainly want to thank our hosts, Exist, for all the wonderful arrangements that they have made, and certainly the wonderful time that we had last night. Just a splendid venue, a terrific start, and a lot of already some good conversations occurring. And thank you in particular for ordering the wonderful weather so far this week. I think it's going to continue for us. Our industry is certainly entering and has been ongoing a very challenging time with the resource transition that we are experiencing. And these conferences, I think, take on even greater and greater importance and emphasis as we go through that difficult transition. We're, like I said, undergoing a resource transition that we have never experienced, I think, in the history of our industry. And in particular, I think the intersection of regulatory policy and reliable grid operations with the operation of our markets and our power exchanges really, like I said, presents some very challenging things that we need to be able to overcome. For us in the United States, and speaking specifically about PJM, we have been undergoing and really executing on a 3-pronged strategy to address all of these challenges. We first are facilitating decarbonization policies that are implemented by the policymakers both at the federal level as well as the state level in our region. We are working on developing the grid of the future that we are going to need in order to integrate all of these various resources as they come online. And we are also emphasizing both internal and with our stakeholder community innovative mechanisms by which to do all of those things, because the fact of the matter is we can't keep doing the things we have done the way we have done them historically. We are going to need to innovate processes, procedures, as well as technologies in order to accommodate this transition that we are undergoing. So that's really been the strategy that we have been executing, and I think that's fairly consistent with what we've seen not just throughout the United States but throughout the world. So I think on the program for our conference this week, you'll see those themes come through. We have a couple of panel discussions around how markets can facilitate this resource transition, how price formation and market design can be enhanced and evolved in order to facilitate the reliable transition that we're undergoing. A couple of panels on advanced technologies, both storage as well as hydrogen, and how advanced technologies might be able to, again, be utilized and leveraged in order to facilitate this transition. And then our final panel tomorrow afternoon, one that I think was very well received last year, will be a regulatory perspective on how things are proceeding. And I think that will be there'll be some very interesting insights from that panel as well. Along the way, we'll have keynote speeches from our corporate sponsors to today's conference, without whom we would not be able to put on this conference, and I'm very much looking forward to their insights as well. And we'll also hear from our Bright Sparks Scholarship winners, the future leaders of our industry as we go along as well, and I'm looking forward to their perspectives on their experience, not just at their home organizations, but also how they've experienced our conference as well. We'll also have one little surprise later on today, right after lunch. We'll have a spotlight on one of our newest members, and I'm really looking forward to the unique challenges that are being experienced in their area of the world as well. But I'll save that for after lunch. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Please remember as we go along that these conferences are what we all make of them together. So as I said last night, I encourage all of you to engage with each other, to engage with our panelists and our speakers, ask questions of them both during the conference as well as at our networking breaks and the dinner tonight, which I am also very much looking forward to. Because like I said, these conferences are what we make of them. And the greater we engage, the greater I think, the more we will all get out of it. So I am very much looking forward to the next 2 days. I hope you are as well. Fasten your seatbelts, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all again for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful conference.
We would like to thank the chairman of APEX, Mr. Stu Brester. Thank you very much, Stu. Well, another quick reminder, ladies and gentlemen, to get and stay connected throughout the conference, you can just simply turn your Wi-Fi on and select the network name Accor, ACCOR, and simply type APEX, all uppercase, at the very bottom of the page where it says voucher. The password or the voucher is APEX. So thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome to the stage the Deputy Chairman of the Board of Exist and Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources of Republic of Türkiye, Dr. Zafer Demircan. Sayın Bakanım.
Dear President of APEX, esteemed guests and colleagues of energy market from around the world, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Türkiye. I greet you all with respect. I would like to start my speech by expressing my pleasure in being with you in such important meeting, APEX 2023 in Istanbul, hosted by Energy Exchange Istanbul and focusing on most important agenda of the energy sector. As known, we are passing through such a times that the political and social developments during and in the aftermath of the pandemic and the war between Russia and Ukraine have severely impacted the economics and energy markets all over the world with a significant economic and social consequences. There have been some crises, including but not limited to climate change crisis, pandemic, disruptions in supply chain globally, higher commodity and power prices. With the effect of the crisis, the importance of the security of the supply has become more prominent for all countries. I believe that the adaptation of the correct management approach will create opportunities for a successful energy transition as well. In this period, when the policies to combat the climate change are gaining momentum, energy transition has become main agenda. This global energy transition is being observed in multiple fields. Energy system driven by fossil fuels is being gradually replaced by more decentralized, decarbonized, and smart system alternatives. The coming years will become even more important in this struggle for a carbon neutral world in line with the common goal of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees. In this regard, renewable energy resources will make a biggest contribution to energy transition within our country 2053 carbon neutral target. In recent years, a serious installed power capacity has been created in our country in terms of the producing the energy from the renewable sources. 55% of installed power capacity is from the renewable resources. Turkey is ranked 5th in Europe, 12th in world in this rate. Currently, 45% of the annual production is produced from the renewable resources. Another important element in the market, and it will be that way in the future, is energy efficiency. The ministry has issued the first National Energy Efficiency Action Plan and published this 2018. This plan guides all the energy efficiency related actions for reducing the primary energy consumption of Turkey 14% by the end of 2023. We have also nuclear power generation development program for peaceful use of nuclear energy. Turkey would like to add the nuclear into its energy mix over next few years. Nuclear is an essential part of our energy policy. The first nuclear project, Akkuyu, is under the construction. And also the first reactor will be in operation in next year. Other reactors will put into operation with 1 year intervals. We plan to increase the nuclear capacity at 6% in 2045 and almost 30% in 2053. Nuclear power is essential for is also our climate change mitigation goals. Distinguished participants, in addition to the energy policies, plans, and strategy, energy exchanges also have very important place. With awareness of this importance, I would like to briefly introduce Energy Exchange Istanbul, which has achieved many important success since its establishment. Exist is responsible for managing and operating energy markets, including power, gas, and environmental commodity. Exist ensures transparent, reliable, and trustworthy market conditions as well as equal access for all market participants by providing the counterparty guarantee of the transactions. As an energy exchange, Exist provides market environments where exchange members and their orders to buy or sell energy in determined delivery platforms. Its task is to carry out the matching all buy or sell orders in transparent manner according to the regulations and establish a reference prices. Exist also performs financial transactions such as settlement, collateral, and invoicing in these markets. Settlement activities regarding the balancing market and ancillary services market. Imbalance settlement activities in natural gas market, the operation of the renewable energy resources. Beside all these exists, develops of all of the markets and service software in-house. With the awareness that the transparency has an important place for a reliable and sustainable market, exists offering a transparency platform to use its market participants and the public 2016. Continues to increase the quality and quantity of the data published on this platform. Thousands of users from all over the world access the data on this platform free of charge. I am confident that this conference will be a valuable opportunity to strengthen our partnerships, cooperation, and promote developments on the security of supply and energy transformation process of countries. Before closing my speech, I want to extend my thanks to Exist staffs and Apex family, tremendous effort and cooperation for this organization. Your dedication, teamwork, and professionalism were crucial in making this event happen. Dear guests, once again, I welcome you to Turkey, and I hope your visit Istanbul will be delightful.
Şükranlarımızı arz ediyoruz Sayın Bakanım. Çok teşekkür ederiz. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. So this concludes the opening speeches of our conference, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to begin the conference part of APEX 2023 Conference Istanbul, we're going to be starting with the keynote speeches, as Mr. Bresses has already mentioned in his opening speech, starting with our platinum partner, GE Vernova. GE Vernova is the platinum partner of APEX 2023 Istanbul Conference, and now I would like to invite to the floor Senior Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of GE Vernova, Dr. Colin Paris. Mr. Paris. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good morning all. Well, first, let me say it is a privilege for us to be a partner here, a sponsor here at this esteemed conference. And it's my own personal honor to actually be here to give you a few remarks for your consideration. So if I think about the cruise we had last night, right, what was beautiful to me was as we moved along that waterway, we saw the evolution of civilizations over countless decades, even centuries. And we're here today to talk about the evolution of this energy transition. I think it's really apropos that we have that discussion here. So again, it's my pleasure to be in Istanbul. Now, let me give you some thought to what I'm going to talk about. So many of you are versed in this transition we've been undergoing for the last couple of decades. So one of the things we've done at GE is actually look at what changes. If you look at any problem, are there parts of the problem that you see changing, and can you characterize the problem in such a way that you've seen prior solutions to those changes, and can you use those solutions to create tools that can help us? Well, I'm here to actually put to you that there are three things I think about as I look at the current problem we face. They're all dealing with the three V's: variability, volume, and velocity. So let's go back to that really noblest of causes, the key title I have up there, Electrifying the World While Decarbonizing It. So we've all talked about how we start on this journey of decarbonizing, decentralizing, and democratizing the capabilities. But when we think about the factors involved, those three up here are three I'd have you consider. First one, in terms of renewable resources, in terms of decarbonizing. By putting these renewable resources where the fuel is nature itself, we have introduced a significant amount of variability into our systems. And I have some numbers there that reflect that variability in terms of the size of gen capacity that's going to be happening. These are the investment numbers. Now, we are also doing investments in batteries to mitigate that variability, but they will not come at a level that would actually reduce that variability significantly, at least if you look at the larger picture. So that's variability. Then let's talk about volume. Let's talk about how many new assets are going to be put on that grid of ours. And when we put these assets on, the impact and the influence of these assets, both from a point of view of actually doing or that we have to manage it, as well as the fact that it can give us some capabilities we can use, that's increasing. You look at the number of heat pumps, you look at the number of EVs, rooftop solars, that volume is increasing. And again, I have numbers that reflect that growth in EVs and heat pumps. And the large factor is the changes we're going to experience. When you look at the changes and the impacts, I have the storms in the US. You see the size of that number over the last 40 years. You see the size over the last 5 years, 600 billion. And you look at the cyber attack growths we've seen. You don't see the impact of them because, again, many of them aren't documented. So you can look at the impact, but you see a lot in terms of the number. So if you look at this chart, it talks about the fact that we have an increase in variability, velocity, and volume. Now, what does that actually mean? If you do have this type of increase and you're looking at the problem, you ask yourself, what do I need to do? Now, we have a unique industry in that you have to perform and transform at the same time. So there are elements of what do you have to do now in an evolutionary manner, and what do you have to do truly transformative? So I'll give you a few for your consideration. This notion of control versus orchestration. So control in the sense that we have predictable, dispatchable capability out there, but we're moving into a world where some of the capability of the generation is unpredictable, non-dispatchable. How do we think about those things? That adds a significant amount of uncertainty. So with that variability comes greater uncertainty. We look at this world as well where there are centralization capabilities, right? Few and load following, now maybe moving to many and generator following. Think about the complexity that adds as we have to estimate and predict and optimize in that environment. So that's greater complexity. Now, to actually, we've seen these problems before, and we've built flexibility systems that allow us to hedge. But now with those flexibility systems, are there, given this greater uncertainty, greater complexity, and greater scale because there are many more assets, how do we look at that? Are there new flexibility systems we need to create? Are there ones we need to evolve? Maybe flexibility systems with greater time granularities, and maybe they're brand new ones we build on the distribution side. I'll talk a bit about those. But what you see if you look at this problem is greater uncertainty, greater complexity, greater scale, and much finer time fidelity that we need. And if you do have that, while still trying to deliver reliability, affordability, and sustainability, what can you do different? What can you rely on? What can you leverage right now that will make a difference? And let me put something to you. Now, I have up there data, AI, and software. And the reason I bring those into play is because there are two aspects of the capability that those technology brings that are really interesting. And I've been watching them for decades. One is the notion of value, right? And you've seen many other companies, especially on the B2C side, utilize data, AI, and software to give them great value. And the second is capability. Now, the value aspect of it is interesting to me because when I see market values rise, real capability in terms of revenue, everything else rises, I ask myself, what's the foundation for that? Is it real or is it hype? I look at things like the level of investment and the momentum that you find. Now, let me talk about these technologies because I want to give you a sort of view of why I think they're important and then what they will do for us. So just the AI and data side of it, if you think about the investments, R&D investments from 2015 to 2022, 7 years, it's $401 billion invested in R&D. for AI right now. 401 billion, average 58 billion a year. Now you ask, what is that invested in, right? And the reason you have to know is because if you're going to look at this and say it's the basis for anything, you have to know that. It's invested in chips. So you've seen the GPUs, the tensor processing units, the AI coprocessors. It's invested in storage, non-volatile memory express storage, new interconnects. It's invested in a series of open source toolkits that are being delivered. You know, Google has the TensorFlow kit. You know, you have Facebook with PyTorch. You have Microsoft with CNTK, Apache with MXNet, and a huge number of communities bootstrapping themselves to deliver this. It's created a wave. That wave allowed some of the B2C industries to grow. Why aren't we using that wave? If you look at enterprise software, now enterprise software distinguish from what you traditionally look at software, because what it does, it gives you the ability to look at complexity. So I'm not talking about buying an app, I'm talking about an enterprise software suite that actually connects things for you. So you're looking at giving you the ability to understand how to adapt quicker, how to build security into the system, how to quickly have performance at scale. That's $32 billion a year over the last 15 years. So you've got $1 trillion worth of R&D, not sales, R&D invested in these capabilities. Why wouldn't we use them in effective ways? Now, if we are going to use them to deal with uncertainty, complexity, scale, and fidelity at time, how would we use them? What we would do is we would build capabilities. And we in GE have done that, not just for this market itself, but across many aspects of other industrial markets that we look at in GE. And the three capabilities that always come to mind are the ones that I have on the slide here: detection, prediction, and optimization. For instance, okay, in our situation, what would we detect? Here's some examples. Behavior of DERs. Can I understand how to discover new DERs on the system? Can I classify them in a way? And can I do it cheaply and effectively, right? And with quicker time to value. How do I look at market power? Can I figure out anomalies that can tell me when there are, I should say, changes in market power or price manipulation? Yes, I can. In prediction, given that we need to predict with the level of uncertainty we have, how do we do the right load and supply predictions? How do we predict system inertia, system strength? In terms of optimization, how do you do that in terms of market clearing, given all of the new things, batteries, other things that we have on the system itself? Could we use that capability to do this? And the other angle is, could we use it in a way that gives us value? Part of my history, I've spent time at GE the last 10 years, but I spent 20 years at IBM. I used to run the HPC, the High Performance Computing group at IBM. What was interesting to me, in 2005, we sold the government an ASCII system, a high-performance system that was roughly about three-quarters the size of this room, right, for roughly about $10 million. The equivalent, in some sense, of that computing power last year was a Sony PlayStation 5 for $300. It's the only capability I know that's proceeding at a huge performance rate while the cost drops. I started writing software in terms of writing assembler and interpreters and then compilers. Now we have software being written by give it examples and it will write the software for you. If you don't actually seize this technology, we are missing a huge weapon in the arsenal. So how would we use it? Well, we've begun to look at ways we would use it. One aspect of it is to look at the entire ecosystem itself, understand generation to transmission, distribution to consumption, and to first define what are the areas that you believe they are the greatest aspects of uncertainty, complexity, and scale. And given that, what new capabilities would you build? And then what value could you get from that? So it's a three-step process. Identify the area, define the business and operational problem you're solving, understand the transformational capability you can get from AI and enterprise software, and then what is the actual value, the tangible thing that you can leave with to show it works. And so this is a journey we embark. Now you'll see 7 boxes there right now, and I think many of you will recognize it. So let's go through a couple. So for instance, if you start on the left-hand side, clearly if we could improve wind and solar generation forecasts, that would be a significant value to us. So are there AI techniques we can use that can actually give us that improvement? If you move across again towards the right, look in the middle. Are there techniques we can use that actually have the ability to help us with grid balancing and restoration? Can we increase grid capacity? Can we do better planning overall? And then all the way to the right, can we improve demand forecast? Can we actually optimize and get efficient demand responses? In each of these boxes, we've spent time looking at this over the years and understanding how do you do detection, prediction, as well as optimization there. I have some examples. Let's touch a few, given the short time we have. In detection, it's all about discoveries. We talked about that. With new DERs coming on our distribution networks, how would you discover those? There are a number of AI techniques. So once you see the problem, what's a technique you would use, right? So there's a number that we could use. Some of them you've seen described here, deep learning with convoluted neural nets or recurrent neural nets based upon if it's a visual picture you're looking at or a time series of data you're taking. Once you understand what it is, how do you actually look at that process map of what people are doing and find ways to extract? How do I get that done with the highest accuracy with the lowest amount of time? And I'll show you some examples at the lowest cost. We've seen the same thing with anomaly detection. We know what a well-running market looks like. Can we detect, given these new capabilities, can we detect when there are anomalies with market power, with price manipulation? There's a whole suite of auto ML capabilities in which you can have the framework that you're using actually take that data and it will run a number of different algorithms against it to see which one is the best fit, and it'll come back and it'll tell you, right? We have a couple of algorithms that's showing us data. You can have your subject matter experts look at it and actually figure out which is best for you. What that does, it reduces the cost by which you can find these patterns. In prediction, what we're trying to do is to do forecasting, but forecasting with significant uncertainty in the systems. So how do we do that? There's a bunch of Bayesian neural networks, right? There are things like Markov chain Monte Carlos, where what you're doing with the Bayesian neural networks is you're using AI to not only help you quantify the uncertainty in a way that makes sense, but it adapts as the data changes, because that's what you're doing as you bring that data in. You have stochastic techniques around Monte Carlo in which it's a dynamic system, it adapts it. So again, the journey is all about getting that problem right, the technique right, and what's the value you get in the end. Finally, with optimization, are there market clearing mechanisms that we do with the optimization? Now, you can be pragmatic, and you can say if I get the prediction right from forecasting, I can use my regular optimization algorithms. But there are a couple of new things on the horizon, reinforcement learning with exploration strategies that could do the same thing, maybe at a greater level of accuracy. So what this chart was really intended to do was to show you how can we think about the problem itself and the techniques we can explore in order to get this right. Now, if you do that, you have to understand how would you get that data in that will allow you to build the models that actually allow you to take the actions. So the enterprise software platform we are on must be different. This is usually the characteristics of the platform you have right now. Monolithic in some ways and siloed. It is obscure. You can't understand the security capabilities in it. It's managed by administrators and operators, and you do upgrades that are really, long cycle upgrades that have major disruptions. What you need is to think about what the new platforms will give you. If you go from monolithic to actually modular, what you do there is you take your software that's one large monolithic bundle and you break it up into modules and components. Modules have capabilities, the components allow you to access other data sources. In addition to doing that, you create a fabric that connects them all together with the data you have. If you have independent modules, then you can develop, you can test, you can actually scale those a lot easier at a lower cost. From obscure to secure, you can use zero trust frameworks right now, and you can build them as you see fit. You can take components from NIST their framework from CIS, the Center for Internet Security framework, or Google has an open source one that you can use as well. When you go from managed to a policy automated, what you're doing is you're reducing the number of operators and administrators you need. Can I automate and have software actually provision users and deprovision users? Can I have the software actually do the security compliance pieces for me? Can I have the software do the managing and monitoring for me and the resource allocation? Not do it with humans. And if I go from upgrades to updates, what I have is much shorter incremental cycles in which you can put in security patches easier, add performance to the right components you have, and reduce the risk and the mitigation. So let me now, because I've given you a picture, let me give you some examples. So again, the three things we talk about is what's the new capability we'll need, right? And then what's the technique you're using, what's the value that you describe. So let me just show you some new capabilities and the value. These are some of the solutions we've been working with partners, several of you in the room here, as well as with other partners we have at the university and the government levels. Let's talk about market optimization. So let's talk about forecasting. This is actually trying to do what we discussed, that discovery notion and forecasting. So how would you look and try and understand and discover those capabilities behind the meters? Well, many of you have instrumented, they have meters in, certain houses and residential areas you have or commercial areas you have. Well, you can actually use clustering algorithms to say, well, I can look at the characteristics of the things I've metered, and I can look at the things that are not metered. Are they similar? So if I've looked at enough things that I get an idea of what it looks like when it's metered, if I've looked at a couple of other things that are similar, I can say, well, this is unmetered, but it behaves similarly, so I can maybe ascribe to it the same characteristics. So now I can forecast a lot better, right? These are some algorithms we've put into place. Now, when you look at the results, right, what you see is things that would take weeks taking seconds, because we've combined the algorithm with the fact that we're using that modular software capabilities and can do things in parallel. So there you see the new capability, able to get at insight with the value. And that's the thought that we want to have as we move into this new era. Second one is dynamic line rating. So now we all know to look at congestion, we can put sensors on those lines, and that sensors to give us an accurate view based upon ambient conditions, the wind, the temperature, exactly what that load could be on that line. But though that's very expensive, is there a way digitally I can build a twin of that line, and I could actually then use the twin to get an estimate of that? And again, those techniques have been developed. And so as a result of that technique being developed, using AI capabilities, you can get 2,000 less lower cost. And the reason the cost is that high is because rather than put sensors and use helicopters to put those sensors or people climbing towers, you can infer it. You will always put sensors on some of the main lines, but the rest of the lines, you can use these capabilities, new capability with the value that you get. Third one is all about the discussion we just have. Is there a way to look at the software you have, get it modular, get it secure in a sense, and get it updatable? Can that give you a significant performance increase? Yes, it can. So that's one dimension around optimization. The last set of examples are around flexibility. It's the same notion here. If I start on the left-hand side and I use the WAMS capability that I have, can I take that data and use that data with some AI techniques to give me much better insights on the inertia that I have? Can I forecast it? Yes, I can. If I do that, can I, if you move towards the middle, can I control it, right? And again, can I control it in such a way that I can use distributed resources to balance equally as powerfully? Yes, I believe that's possible. In fact, we've done it, working with some of our team members here in the UK. You see the demonstration of less than 0.5 of a second. And then the last one is actually distributed black start. The notion that can I use resources in the distribution network to actually, do a black start? And how well can I do that? And this is a trial that was just concluded in May of this year, 2023. So I hope this notion of using this wave of investment that's happening to our benefit, we can use, we can take, and looking at the problem we have, understand how we benefit that. Let me end on this slide. So I, as you can tell, am a huge optimist. I believe we're on the verge of a new era. I believe what we do in this room, energy is foundational for our civilization moving forward. And the only way to think about this is to think about this in a bold way. So I am the 100% guy. So you'll see me talk about 100% of capacity rewarded. I would like as much renewable energy to be used and not lost, right? And I have some other bullets there. I'm 100% business participation. I want that flexibility we have. I want that fair market. I would like no failures. I'm looking at the extreme end of this problem because that's the way we think, if we want to achieve the best. And I want the customers 100% engaged. You need their minds and their wills, especially if we have to do the things moving forward. But I'm a pragmatist. So I'm looking at what the reality is. So look below that, and let's start at the left. One reality is that this variability, volume, and velocity will continue to increase. No doubt in my mind, the geopolitical things we're seeing in the world, the need for energy security, the regulations, that's going to introduce much more variability. There are new energy technologies being developed that will, again, introduce variability. Then there's the obvious challenge we have in terms of aging talent. If that talent begins to leave and it's hard to access talent, that's another form of variability that shows up. How do we counter that? I come back to my optimism where I started. The AI and data capabilities that the world is investing in is increasing. So we talked about that $58 billion. What we haven't talked about is the hype that just suddenly showed up with this ChatGPT, the generational AI. It's not new. 2016, they started working on this. It's new to many people because it's been talked about, and the fact that you got 100 million users in a week is astounding, but some of the capabilities there are actually quite real if put in the right context with the right pragmatism. And that's going to help us because many of us have in our case histories and the documents we have a ton of information locked up that were we able to extract it could clearly benefit the people that we have. The other aspect of this is that because we have that aging talent, we've got to find a way to capture the historical and tribal knowledge we have in that talent that's about to leave us and retire, right? Some of it is captured in the documents they write, some of it is captured in the interviews we do with them or just the meetings we have that we record. Can the AI help extract that coming out? Last part I'll talk about is this notion of integrating with the process. None of this works if you have a software tool, it's in a room, and people make the decisions they make by having a discussion over a piece of paper. You've got to integrate this into the processes. Now, when you do, the acronym AI changes. AI doesn't stand for artificial intelligence. What's the way you use it effectively? It could be assisted intelligence. Can I actually have something that increases the productivity? In these control rooms, is there AI that can help so that I don't have, my top leaders there sitting and doing mundane tasks, that are dull, rather putting them to effective use? That's productivity. The other AI aspect is augmentation intelligence. Can I be creative? If I have to creatively plan and design these markets, can I do that by having the AI run simulations for me of massive cases that we may never think about because we haven't seen the technology act in that way, but will happen? Can that creative part be used? And the last A is AI for autonomous. Can we have the AI do things we don't need to do, either because the speed of the action in cyber means we can't respond to it, or maybe it's happening in such a way, we do some of it now, that we don't need humans touching that. So how do I put this AI in our process and make things change? So I will stop with that. Thank you very much for your time. I'm delighted to be here. I think this is one of the most important things on the planet right now, and if we can help in any way, we are here to do that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Colin Parris. That was a very detailed and very horizon-opening presentation. And we would also like to thank GE Vernova as they help generate and move the energy that our world needs today. New era of energy. So, ladies and gentlemen, APEX 2023 Istanbul Conference is not only about developing and communicating ideas and practices, but it is also about creating memories, just like last night, the boat trip and the Bosphorus, and the moment that we are going to have the family photo session right now. So, Mr. Minister, we would like to have a quick family photo session, if you allow us, sir. Bir aile fotoğrafı çekimi gerçekleştirmek isteriz efendim, Sayın Bakanım, uygun görürseniz. So I would like to invite everyone to the stage for a quick family photo session to create an unforgettable memory for APEX 2023 Istanbul Conference. Thank you. Sayın Genel Müdürüm, Sayın Ulusever, buyurunuz efendim. So everyone to the stage, please. We're going to have one quick family photo session all together in the memory of APEX 2023 Istanbul Conference. We may also use the ground floor, ladies and gentlemen, the ground floor as well. The ground level. İyi miyiz bu şekilde? Peki. We would like to see some smiling faces, some happy eyes, everyone, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was a great memory. So now we're going to have a quick 10 minutes networking break. We're going to have a quick 10-minute networking break. So ladies and gentlemen, as you know, in other seminars and conferences that you attend, they call it a coffee break, but we call this a networking break. So that's a great opportunity to enjoy your coffee and the traditional Turkish tea, but also a great opportunity for networking as well. So see you in 10 minutes. Thank you.